Today, we'll discuss on the topic water-soluble vitamins and their biological function. Now, let's have a look at the introduction. Water-soluble vitamins consist of a large number of substances which are grouped as vitamin C and the vitamin B complex family. Water-soluble vitamins are not normally stored to any extent in the body, and the ingested vitamin in excess of requirement are excreted through the kidney. For the body to carry out its normal function, the daily supply of these vitamins is necessary. Most of the water-soluble vitamins are components of essential enzymes. The water-soluble vitamins are extensively lost by leaching during cooking procedures. This factor has to be kept in mind while meeting their requirements. Some vitamins of the B group result from bacterial activity in the small intestine, and many are easily synthesized and used as food additives. Now, we'll see the vitamin B complex. One important reason for grouping the B vitamin together is that they occur together in nature. Therefore, a diet lacking in one B complex vitamin usually lacks in other of the group. In general, the B group vitamins function as coenzyme, and thus they play an essential role in metabolic processes of all living cells. First, we'll see thiamine, vitamin B1. The search of many persons for the cause of beriberi eventually to a successful conclusion with the identification of thiamine as the control agent involved. Thiamine was first isolated in 1926 from rice polycynes, and subsequently its basic nature and metabolic function were then clarified in the early 1930s. The name thiamine comes from its chemical ring-like structure. Functions. The main function of thiamine as a metabolic control agent is related to its energy metabolism. It serves as a coenzyme in key reactions that produce energy from glucose or that convert glucose to fat for tissue energy storage. Thiamine also plays a role in muscle contraction and conducting nerve signals. We'll see the daily requirement. The recommended thiamine allowance is 0.5 mg per 1000 calories. Food sources of thiamine. Although thiamine is widespread in almost all plants and animal tissues commonly used as food, the content is usually small. In general, good sources include rice polycynes, lean pork, beef, liver, legumes, whole and enriched grains like flour, bread, cereals. Eggs, fish, and few vegetables are fair sources. We'll see the effect of deficiency. When thiamine intake is deficient, the digestive system is disturbed, resulting in loss of appetite, poorly toned muscles, and constipation. Loss of appetite may be accompanied by nausea, vomiting. Thiamine deficiency can also affect the nervous system. Some of the symptoms observed are mental depression, moodiness, irritability, forgetfulness, confusion, and fear. Severe deficiency leads to beriberi, which is characterized by neurological and cardiovascular disorder and of the gastrointestinal tract. Now, we'll see riboflavin or the vitamin B2. As early as 1879, a London chemist first observed in milk whey a water-soluble pigment with peculiar yellow-green fluorescence. But it was not until 1932 that riboflavin was actually discovered by researchers in Germany. It was given the chemical name flavins from Latin word for yellow. Later, Because the vitamin was found also to contain a sugar named ribose, the name riboflavin was adopted. Now, we'll see the functions of riboflavin. Basic coenzyme role. The cell enzymes of riboflavins is an important part are called flavoproteins. Riboflavin enzymes operate at vital reaction points in the process of energy metabolism and in deamination, the key reaction that removes the nitrogen-containing amino groups from certain amino acids. Thus, riboflavin act as control agent in both energy production and tissue building. Riboflavin is also necessary for the conversion of tryptophan to vitamin niacin. Riboflavin plays a role in the production of hormones in the adrenal cortex, in the formation of red blood cells in bone marrow, the synthesis of glycogen, and also in fatty acid catabolism. Deficiency. Problems associated with riboflavin deficiencies include the following. First, ariboflavinosis. There is a combination of symptoms which centers on tissue inflammation and breakdown and poor wound healing. The lips become swollen, cracking easily, and characteristic cracks develop at the corner of the mouth. Cracks and irritation develop at nasal angles. The tongue becomes swollen and reddened, called glossitis. Extra blood vessels also develop in the cornea. Second, deficiency in newborn infants. Riboflavin is light-sensitive. Newborn infants with elevated blood bilirubin treated with phototherapy have shown signs of riboflavin deficiency even when supplements were provided. We'll see the food source of riboflavin. The most important food source is milk. Lactoflavin, the milk form of riboflavin, is found in milk. Other good sources are organ meat such as liver, kidney, and heart, whole or enriched grains or vegetables. Daily requirements. For practical purpose, the general recommended dietary allowance standard for riboflavin is based on 0.6 mg per 1000 kilocalories for healthy person or an adult, range of 1.2 to 1.7 mg per day. Next, niacin or the vitamin B3. Niacin, formerly known as nicotinic acid, was originally obtained by the oxidation of nicotine. In 1937, it was recognized as the nutrient able to prevent or cure pellagra in humans and black tongue in dogs. Niacin is used as a generic term to include derivatives such as nicotinamide. Niacin is one of the stable vitamins, being relatively resistant to heat, light, acids, and alkali. It losses from foods occur via trimming, leaching, etc. Functions. The different functions of nicotinic acid are: number 1, the chief function of niacin in the body is to form the active part of the coenzyme that plays an important part in biological oxidations. Nicotinamide is the component of two coenzymes, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide NAD and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate NADP, known as pyridine nucleotide. These coenzymes are components of enzymes involved in reactions that release energy from carbohydrate, fats, and protein, and also participate in fat synthesis. Also, pyridine nucleotide in the reduced form reduce the riboflavin containing coenzyme in the electron transport reaction involved in the release of biological energy. Second, nicotinic acid is essential for the normal functioning of the skin, intestinal tract, and the nervous system. Now, we'll see the deficiency. In man, deficiency of niacin results in weakness and indigestion, followed by ulcerated mouth and tongue. Prolonged deficiency leads to pellagra, which is characterized by the 4 Ds, that is, dermatitis, depression, diarrhea, and dementia. The skin, especially the part exposed to the sun, itches and burns. Lack of appetite in early stage is followed by diarrhea in later stage. Nervous changes include dizziness, insomnia, irritability, fear, depression, and forgetfulness. Food sources. Cereals, especially whole cereals, dried yeast, liver, groundnut, legumes, fleshy foods, and fish are good sources. Milk, eggs, and vegetables are fair source. Requirement. The recommended daily allowance of niacin is 16 to 20 mg for men and 13 to 16 mg for women. During pregnancy, an increase of 2 mg and 4 mg during lactation is recommended. Next is the pyridoxine, vitamin B6. Three naturally occurring compounds with similar activities are together known as vitamin B6. They are pyridoxine, pyridoxal, and pyridoxamine. In the body, all the three forms are equally active as precursor of the potent pyridoxine coenzyme pyridoxal phosphate. It is quite stable to heat and acid and is easily destroyable in an alkaline medium. Functions. Pyridoxine acts as a cofactor for several enzymatic reactions in all the three metabolisms. In protein metabolism, transamination takes place with the help of this enzyme system. In carbohydrate and fat metabolism, there are intermediary reactions where pyridoxine acts as a cofactor. This vitamin is the cofactor of the enzyme involved in the conversion of tryptophan to niacin, the essential fatty acid linolenic acid to arachidonic acid, and release of glucose from glycogen. Removal and transfer of sulfur group from sulfur-containing amino acids like cysteine requires pyridoxine. Pyridoxine also helps in energy transformation in brain and in nervous tissues. Next, we'll see the deficiency. The clinical signs of vitamin B6 deficiency usually occurs in the later stage of deficiency and are often seen with other water-soluble vitamins. Some of the signs of deficiency seen in infants are abnormal electroencephalogram pattern and convulsion, and those seen in adults are stomatitis, chleusis, glossitis, irritability, depression, and confusion. Now, we'll see the food sources. Good sources include grains, seeds, rice polishing, liver and kidney, and other meat. There are limited amounts in milk, eggs, and vegetables. Daily requirement. Vitamin B6 requirement for both men and women is 1.6 to 2 mg per day. The need increases to 2.5 mg per day in pregnant and lactating women. Next is the pentatonic acid or the vitamin B5. Pentatonic acid was isolated and synthesized in 1938 to 1940. Because it occurs in all forms of living things and is an acid, it was named pentatonic acid. This source, together with its widespread natural occurrence, makes deficiencies unlikely. Intestinal bacteria synthesizes considerable amount of this vitamin. Pentatonic acid is readily absorbed in the intestine and combines with phosphorus to form the active coenzyme, that is the coenzyme A. Function. In its one basic role as an essential constituent of the body's key activating agent, coenzyme A, pentatonic acid is vital to metabolic reactions involving carbohydrate, fats, and protein metabolism in all cells. Food sources. Rich sources include metabolically active tissues such as liver and kidney. Egg yolk and milk contribute more. Fair additional sources include other meats, cheese, legumes, and vegetables. Daily requirement. For adults, 10 mg per day. For adolescents, 8 to 10 mg per day. Children, 5 to 8 mg per day. And for infants, 1.5 to 2.5 mg per day was recommended by Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Health Organization. Biotin. Biotin is widely distributed in nature and is essential for the health of many animal species including man. It is a sulfur-containing vitamin. Now, we'll see the function of biotin. Biotin is the coenzymes required by several carboxylic enzymes called carboxylase, which has the ability to add or remove carbon dioxide. The vitamins plays an important role in metabolism of both carbohydrate and fats. Deficiency. Deficiency is unlikely in man due to its extensive synthesis in the intestinal tract. Deficiency manifestation can be induced by feeding large amount of biotin binding protein, evident present in raw egg white. Symptoms of biotin deficiency in men includes anorexia, nausea, vomiting, mental depression, and a dry, scaly dermatitis. Sources. Good sources include liver, kidney, egg yolk, groundnut, and some vegetables. Requirement. The daily recommended quantities are 0.4 mg for adult, 0.8 mg in pregnancy, and 0.6 mg in lactation. Next is the folic acid. Folate is a water-soluble B vitamin that is naturally present in some foods. Folate, formerly known as folacin, is the generic term for both naturally occurring food folate, and folic acid is the fully oxidized monoglutamate form of the vitamin. Functions. As a coenzyme, folacin takes part in metabolic process when it transfers single carbon unit from one compound to another. Folacin coenzymes are involved in many methylation reactions. Folic acid is essential for nucleoprotein synthesis, and it is required for cell division and also for maturation of erythrocytes. Folic acid also helps in hair growth and health of skin. Deficiency of folic acid. Folacin deficiency in man results in poor growth, megaloblastic anemia, and other blood disorders, gastrointestinal tract disturbance arising from impaired absorption, and metabolic derangement. The vitamin controls macrocytic anemias of pregnancy. Food sources. Yeast, kidney, liver, and green leafy vegetables, especially spinach, asparagus, and broccoli are rich sources of folic acid. Dried beans and whole wheat bread are good sources of the vitamin. Requirement. The daily intake level of folic acid are 400 micrograms for males over 13 years, 400 to 600 micrograms for females over 13 years, 400 micrograms during pregnancy, and 500 micrograms in lactating women. Vitamin B12 or the cobalamin. In 1926, Mignon and Murphy discovered that pernicious anemia was cured when patients suffering from it were fed with large amount of raw liver. Later, Castile discovered that both an extrinsic and intrinsic factor is necessary for treating pernicious anemia. The extrinsic factor in liver was later named as vitamin B12. It contains the mineral cobalt, and the cobalt is present in the center of a large molecule which resembles hemoglobin or chlorophyll. With this, the vitamin B12 was named cobalamin. Functions. As an essential coenzyme factor, cobalamin is closely related to amino acid metabolism and the formation of the heme portion of hemoglobin. Its requirement increases as protein intake increases. Deficiency. Due to deficiency of vitamin B12, pernicious anemia occur. In pernicious anemia, the lifespan of red blood cells is reduced to 60 days instead of the normal 120 days, and the size and shape is also changed. Skin changes show yellowish pallor, soreness, and shine on the tongue are other manifestations of skin lesion. gastric secretion is reduced. Stomach mucosa show atrophic changes, nervous tissues are degenerated, tingling, numbness, loss of sensation in the limbs, exaggerated knee jerks and ankle jerks are other symptoms. Sources. Good sources include liver, meat, fish, egg, and fair sources include milk and milk products. Requirement. A vitamin B12 requirement for normal person is 1 microgram per day. During pregnancy and lactation, it is increased to 1.5 microgram. Infants and children up to 10 years require 0.2 microgram and adolescents need 1 micrograms. Lastly, we'll see the vitamin C or the ascorbic acid. The recognition of vitamin C is associated with the history of a search for the cause of hemorrhagic disease, scurvy. The chemical name of vitamin C is ascorbic acid, given to this substance because of its antiscorbutic or anti-scurvy properties. Vitamin C is an unstable, easily oxidized acid. Functions. Vitamin C has been implicated in the hydroxylation of proline to form the hydroxychloroquine required in the formation of collagen. It helps in the healing of wounds, fractures, bruises, and bleeding gums and reduce liability to infection. Ascorbic acid is involved in the metabolism of some amino acids such as tyrosine in drug and folic acid metabolism and in the synthesis of epinephrine and anti-inflammatory steroids in the adrenal glands. The absorption of iron is increased by dietary ascorbic acid when the two nutrients are ingested simultaneously. Deficiency of vitamin C. When deprived of a dietary source of vitamin C for sufficient length of time, man, along with other primates and several other species, develops scurvy. It is a fatal disease characterized by the weakening of collagenous structures, and this results in widespread capillary hemorrhaging. Other symptoms include weakness, poor appetite and growth, anemia, tenderness to touch, swollen, loosening of teeth, and bone joint diseases. Sources. Excellent source of vitamin C are citrus fruits, berries, guava, capsicum, and green leafy vegetables. Amla or Indian gooseberry is a richer source of vitamin C. 100 grams of amla contains 700 milligrams of vitamin C, but this vitamin is destroyed by oxidation during cooking and storing. Requirements. An allowance of 45 milligram per day for children, 60 milligram per day for adults of both sexes, and an additional 20 milligram per day for pregnant and 40 milligram per day for lactating women is recommended. Now we'll come to the conclusion. Next to fat-soluble vitamins, water-soluble vitamins, which are the B complex vitamin and vitamin C, is also another important organic substances required in small amount in certain metabolic function. These vitamins share certain characteristics like they are synthesized by plants and thus dietary supplies are required. It is also not so stable and need to be provided regularly by diet. They function as a coenzyme in cell metabolism. Toxicity level, however, is not associated because excess is excreted in urine, but vitamin B6 and ascorbic acid shows toxic when taken in megadose. All water-soluble vitamins, especially vitamin C, are easily oxidized and care must be taken in food storage and preparation.